Is gathered here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia for this Game 5 Eastern Conference first-round encounter between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Philadelphia 76ers. Both teams have won their respective home court games, so we come to Game 5 tied at 2 apiece. The winner goes on to take on Chicago in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist, and welcome to the Spectrum in Philadelphia. These teams in the NBA play 82 games in the regular season for the right to claim home court advantage in the playoffs. Well, it's here, and Philadelphia has it. There is a palpable air of finality for this game that has not been present for the previous 4, because after today, the winner goes on to take on Chicago, and the loser goes home. My partner today and throughout the playoffs is Len Elmore. Len, Game 5, so much emotion around this game, but an interesting, slightly different approach by the two teams to it.
Well, Vern, after playing 4 games in a row, these two teams really feel that there's not much more you can say. Philadelphia opted not to practice yesterday, and the coaching staff thought it was better to leave the players' thoughts to themselves. Well, they had better think about all the layups they gave up in their half-court defense. Think about Brad Daugherty's 34 points and Cleveland's 53% field goal percentage shooting to tighten up their interior defense. Now, Cleveland, on the other hand, they practiced yesterday, but lightly, and they figured they'd tinker with and firm up their patterns. Lenny Wilkins wants to strive for some balance offensively, and on defense, think about watching Charles Barkley and company go down the lane. They're going to wind up getting tackled because there will be no easy layups.
Just a quick note about the home court advantage. Thus far in the playoffs, the home team has won 23 and lost only 6.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1990 NBA playoffs is sponsored by Plymouth and your local Plymouth dealers, who invite you to test drive a Plymouth today. Wheaties, better get your whole grain, better eat your Wheaties. And by Miller Lite's Tour de Light, the race to win America's favorite light beer.
If you think Nissan 300 ZX is faster from 0 to 60 than any American car, you stand corrected.
Now get $750 back on laser at Plymouth's Guaranteed Advantage Sell-a-thon.
If you care enough about your lawn to get a Craftsman mower, more power to you.
Right now, our most powerful Craftsman self-propelled mower with 5 horsepower and 22-inch cut is just $299.
And there's only one place to get it. Sears.
Some people take chances on car maintenance, but I don't. Give me AC filters every time. AC filters match the original specs on my cars like a nut on a bolt.
AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match.
You ready for these guys?
It's tough to beat the nutrition of 100% whole grain. But only one of these leading cereals has whole grain. Only Wheaties gives you whole grain nutrition. So before you take on your competition, better get your whole grain.
Ready to Wheaties.
Every evening, we pack over 700,000 passengers onto our planes.
About 10 before takeoff check.
No drinks are served. No meals are prepared. Yet our customers love our service. Like our UPS Next Day Air Letter. Guaranteed overnight delivery to any address coast to coast. And at just $9. Far less than other companies charge.
Set takeoff thrust.
No one seems to mind that there's no in-flight movie.
Game is sold out. The last of the 500 available tickets sold about a half an hour ago. Second sellout of the series here in the Spectrum. They sold out Game 2 after having 15,000 on hand for Game 1. Now the lineups. First of all for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Larry Nance, Winston Bennett up front. In the backcourt, Mark Price and Craig Elo. The center will be Brad Daugherty, fresh from a 34-point effort in game number 4. The head coach in his 4th full season now with the Cavaliers, Lenny Wilkins. And for the 76ers, Charles Barkley and Rick Mahorn up front. Hersey Hawkins and Johnny Dawkins in the backcourt. The center, Mike Jaminski, who has struggled, particularly in the last game. And the head coach, Jimmy Lynam. Right now, let's check in with the third member of our group, Leslie Visser.
Vern, last year, James Edwards said that Rick Mahorn gave the Detroit Pistons the personality they needed to win a world title. Well, that's exactly what Mahorn is trying to do here. He just told me that he talked to his teammates about the need for physical intensity in this game, which is how they won the first 2 games. Now, what does that mean? We all remember last year when Rick gave what he called a love tap on the top of Mark Price's head, which turned out to be a concussion. We'll see what's in store. Vern?
Jake O'Donnell, Jack Madden, and Jess Hersey, the trio of officials today. Larry Nance and Rick Mahorn at center court. Game 5. Winner gets Chicago, loser goes home. Craig Elo for the Cavaliers.
Well, Vern, look for Cleveland to really try to establish their inside game, going to Doherty and Nance just a bit, because that's where they had their success in games 3 and 4.
Already Jaminski trying to elbow Doherty out of the way. There's the double team. And a jump ball as Hersey Hawkins doubled down.
Hersey Hawkins doing a nice job, as you mentioned, of doubling down. They've got to give Mike Jaminski help on Brad Doherty. Doherty's gotten his confidence in the last couple of games, particularly with 34 points Thursday. He's really going to look to score.
Doherty had 34 on 12 of 15 from the field. And Barkley tries to get the tap. Loose ball, foul on Craig Elo. So now Philadelphia's first possession. They won the first 2 games here, albeit not by large margins. And they were blown out in Game 3 in Chicago and then lost by 12 in Game 4. Series tied 2-2.
Those blowouts really took the confidence of the Sixers. It's important for them to get off to a good start to reestablish that confidence.
Elo fronting Barkley down in the low post, and Barkley's shot no good. Mark Price hurries up. This is Winston Bennett, who had a high of 22 in Game 1 here. Now to Larry Nance over Jaminski. Off the glass and good.
Well, the first 2 shots taken were by Brad Doherty and Larry Nance. Cleveland's definitely going to establish their game inside.
Now Johnny Dawkins with a fadeaway jumper. Gets a nice soft roll. And that ties it up at 2-all. Now Price with Dawkins on him. And a double team on Price. Nice backdoor cut by Winston Bennett. The pass from Doherty.
Well, Freddie Carter, we spoke to him yesterday. The assistant coach for the Sixers says Doherty's the best passing center in the league.
Hersey Hawkins gives Philadelphia its first lead. At the other end, the rebound, Mahorn. 76ers hurry up the pace. Dawkins, nice through. Throws it away, and here comes Price. It's a 2-on-2. Price for 3. Pace of this game is pretty frenetic early on. Jaminski. He was 2 for 13 in Game 4. The follow is good.
Pretty 2 evenly matched teams, but when it really gets to be rough going, the Cleveland Cavaliers probably don't have an answer for Charles Barkley.
Barkley has had problems with the free throw line now. He missed 5 in Game 4. He's missed 18 in the 4 games, and he gets that one. Philadelphia lead. Philadelphia shooting only 47% in the 4-game series. Now, another nice pass by Doherty, and the shot rims out for Elo. Hersey Hawkins takes the jumper over Elo, short. Barkley, fouled by Winston Bennett.
That look we saw was one more of disbelief than disagreement on that particular call. Barkley does a great job moving his feet and anticipating where the ball's coming off the rim. And as we mentioned, Cleveland can match up, and bringing John Williams off the bench is one way that they can force an advantage their way, but they really don't have an answer for Charles Barkley again.
There's the dish back and the near steal by Elo. Williams comes in for Winston Bennett for Cleveland. Here's Jaminski jump hook. Mike Jaminski, 3 of 19 from the field in the last 2 games. Played much better at home, and that's got to be a confidence builder for him. Now Jaminski on Doherty, the featured matchup of the day. And they're going to get Jaminski with a foul, and the basket will count.
Lenny Wilkins happy with the way that play developed. But what happened to Philadelphia, and as we talked to Fred Carter of the Sixer coaching staff yesterday, they wanted to wait until Doherty put it on the floor before they came to double. Hersey Hawkins was supposed to come over, but was a bit late.
Doherty completes the three-point play, and that cuts it to a 10-7 edge. Doherty with a career-high 34 points in Game 4. Now here's the curl pattern by Hersey Hawkins. Larry Nance and Jaminski fight for it. It comes down to the hands of Hot Rod Williams. 10-7 ball game, just under 9 minutes to go, first quarter. Williams. Well, he continues what has been a terrific season and a terrific playoff series.
He's instant offense for Cleveland. He also creates such a big problem for Philadelphia on the defensive end. Very few guys on their team match up with his quickness inside.
Barkley posting low with Nance behind him. Charles backs in. Little quick jumper is good. Fred Carter, the assistant coach of the 76ers, said he expects Charles Barkley to have a huge game today. Barkley scored 38 and 32 in the two games here. Did not play that well on the road. Now here's a mismatch. Doherty, but Jaminski gets a deflection, and here comes the outlet pass. Hawkins. No. Larry Nance is going to get called for the foul.
Before the day is through, we're going to get tired of calling this man's name. But again, he gets back to the board as quickly as anyone. And here battling Larry Nance for the rebound, he still established great position with his anticipation of where the ball was coming off the rim.
There's Hawkins going by Price. Nice feed to Hersey Hawkins. 14-9 lead. Well, it was thought that the backcourt of Cleveland might have the edge. Look at the takeaway by Hawkins. 3-on-1, Jaminski. And there's one of those hard fouls you talk about.
Well, Lenny Wilkins certainly informed us that there would be no easy layup. Any breakaway layup, they're going to tackle someone, at least not let him get it up to the basket. Great defensive job by Philadelphia. Hersey Hawkins moving in on the help side and cutting off Mark Price and starting the fast break. Even though the runners were a little bit too close, Dawkins did a nice job, and you see what Craig Elo is going to make sure Mike Jaminski earns it.
Jaminski will shoot, too. Elo took a charge on Barkley in Game 4 that was a sterling piece of defensive play that sent a message. Lenny Wilkins. And a timeout has been called. Philadelphia. A 6-point Philadelphia 76er lead.
Okay, have it your way. You can't change pollution. You can't change the deficit. You can't change the price of bread. But you gotta start somewhere. I mean, take your clothes, for example. If you just get out of that monkey suit, you might get a positive attitude going. I mean, the world could be your oyster. Oyster, well, it's an acquired taste that usually takes time.
Who could that be? It's Coach Brown with today's word.
Today's word is transition game.
Ooh, transition game. And you say transition game?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. David, you're not a guard. You're going to break. You got to run. Rebound. Running and play your legs quickly.
I don't think we're going to have Coach Brown on the show anymore.
If you don't do that, I'm going to have to yell at you.
We go above and beyond just like you. Above and beyond what we have to do.
I'm a Prudential representative. When I talk to people about CDs and mutual funds, they're surprised at the wide range of investment opportunities I can offer.
You work hard, so do we, to make what you work for a reality. The Rock, the Prudential, above and beyond.
When a ruthless gang of outlaws takes paradise hostage, only one man can stop the slaughter. But will he?
I am no lawman.
Please. Paradise, tonight.
What a game last night by Patrick Ewing, and that sends the two teams back to Boston for Game 5 tomorrow. You'll see that on CBS. And also last night in Phoenix, Utah won there for the first time since 1986. And they go back to Salt Lake City for Game 5. You'll see that tomorrow. In the West now, Phoenix and Utah tied at 2-all. The winner gets the Lakers. San Antonio and Portland, Game 1 of the semifinals. That's coming up next on CBS. The center comparison so far in the series. Doherty, 22 points a game to 9 for Jaminski, 61% from the field, and the rebound edge, not so surprising, but that field goal percentage for Mike Jaminski has really been a thorn.
Well, I spoke to Mike before the game, and he just about shrugged it off, saying he's going to continue to shoot if the shots are there. And I've known Mike for a long time. We were teammates with the New Jersey Nets in the early 80s, and he's the kind of guy that's mentally tough. He'll rebound from this if the opportunity's there.
7:39 to go, first quarter. Steve Kerr has made his first appearance in the game. There's the turnaround jumper by Hot Rod Williams. Just a mention of Kerr, and Lenny Wilkins said that he would go to Kerr if he found them doubling down on Doherty, because when they played him single in Game 4, that took away the outside shot, and Kerr was ineffective, played only 2 minutes. Oh, what a dish. And Charles Barkley, the tip, no good. The second tip up and in.
That's the Sixer advantage, Vern, on the offensive board. They don't really run an awful lot of intricate things. What they want to do is power the ball in the basket, and Charles Barkley is the spearhead.
Jaminski, they'll get him the baseline and try and force him that way. Back it comes. Larry Nance, hassled by Hersey. Hawkins, foul on Hawkins.
Well, right now, there is a decided mismatch inside. Whenever Cleveland crosses down low with a guard, Hot Rod Williams winds up with a smaller guy on him, and Cleveland's looking to exploit that a bit.
Now they got Doherty and Jaminski way out top of the key. Hawkins on Steve Kerr. There's the pick from Doherty. Kerr with the jumper. Dawkins with the rebound. And again, the 76ers hurry the pace for 3. Mark Price tries to force the issue at the other end. No good. And the layup clean and missed it left-handed. Dawkins. Mahorn spots up. Traveled.
Well, certainly the pace is to the Sixers' advantage. They like to play a full-court basketball game. Cleveland, a much better, precise execution team in the half-court, would really be better off in pulling back just a bit and finding the open man as they did in Game 3 and 4.
This is a turnaround from the previous 4 games where Cleveland has had the upper hand both here and at home in the first half. As a matter of fact, the Cavaliers have led at halftime in all 4 games. Nice job defensively by Hawkins. That gets the crowd alive. Williams for 2 more.
And that's the mismatch we're talking about. Although Charles Barkley is a force inside, he's still only about 6 feet 5 inches tall. And Hot Rod Williams just about has his way with him.
21-13, under 6 minutes to go, first quarter. Doherty, quick move to the baseline by Mahorn. And here comes Cleveland in transition. Doherty, right wing. Pulls up, goes over Jaminski. He'll shoot 2. How do you like the matchup so far, Glenn, between Jaminski and Doherty?
Well, Mike Jaminski, you can see that he's more determined not to let Brad Doherty get good position down on the block, something that he had done earlier. On the other hand, though, G-Man, and that's his nickname, his offensive game still hasn't gotten to where he wants it. He can't get tip-ins. He hasn't had an opportunity for a jump shot.
Bob Thornton is going to give Jaminski a rest now. And a nice hand for Mike Jaminski. And he has been the focal point of much public criticism here in town in the aftermath of the explosion by Doherty on the offensive end in Cleveland.
Well, to Mike's defense, he is a player who has skills that complement his teammates. He's not going to be a superstar, but nevertheless, he plays very well with the guys with whom he plays, and they've been pretty successful with a guy like him in the center.
Doherty misses both free throws, and it stays an 8-point game. That's going to be fouled along the baseline. Steve Kerr picks up his first.
Over the limit.
And that puts Cleveland over the limit. So Hersey Hawkins will shoot.
Hersey Hawkins shooting 2.
Steve Kerr is going to have to get help. Hersey Hawkins is much too quick off the dribble for Steve Kerr to really defend.
If there is a most improved player on this team, you are looking at him. Hersey Hawkins, who was an abysmal 3 for 24 in the 3-game sweep by the Knicks in the first round of the playoffs last year, and this year exploded for 35 points in game 1 here. But over the course of the year, he's really had a terrific season.
Well, he had a summer workout with assistant coach Fred Carter, who worked on his game, particularly putting on the floor and driving to the basket. And Fred smiled like a proud papa because Hersey Hawkins really come through.
Mark Price goes by Johnny Dawkins, and there's another hard foul, this one by Bob Thornton. And Price will go to the line.
Well, Bob Thornton is a kind of suit of armor guy in there. He's not going to allow Mark Price to get the ball up. He missed the ball and grabbed him by the leg, but he's in there to give up all 6 of his fouls, put some body on someone, and establish a physical presence inside for the Sixers.
Mark Price is perfect at the free throw line through the series. That is his 24th consecutive free throw here early in game 5. Cuts the lead to 7. 5:05 to go first quarter. Philadelphia and Cleveland. Bert Lundquist, Glenn Elmore, and Leslie Visser with you. Hersey Hawkins guarded by Steve Kerr, and here's Barkley posting up on Williams again. Dawkins off the screen from Mahorn. Back to Mahorn, he spots up.
Great ball movement by the Sixers. Brad Daugherty decided to leave Rick Mahorn and step into the middle to try to help. Mahorn wide open, doesn't hesitate.
Price, and how about the foul that Charles Barkley put on the head of Mark Price?
Funny, though, Mark Price is the one that's standing. He left a couple of Sixers on the floor. But here, a gutsy move by Price. 3 guys inside. Johnny Dawkins goes down. But Mark Price did not turn and look at any Sixer, did not have any words. One thing Lenny Wilkins mentioned to Leslie earlier was that these guys, this Cleveland Cavaliers, are going to maintain their focus on the game and not get caught up in, as he said, the shenanigans.
Now Price just ignored it, and the foul is officially whistled on Johnny Dawkins, his first. 26 in a row for Mark Price in the playoffs, and a perfect 4 for 4 today. 7-point Philadelphia lead, largest lead has been 11. Mahorn again. Well, he has become more of an offensive force here than he was in Detroit, and says it's one of the things he enjoys about playing with Philadelphia. Now Thornton. Daugherty backs in. No, they called it on Bob Thornton.
Well, one of the complaints that the Sixers had was that Daugherty likes to lower that left shoulder. You saw an elbow thrown, but the call was that Thornton had both hands checking Daugherty down low. And one of the things officials like to do to try to stave off some type of altercation is to keep the big guys inside from hand checking and using their elbow. That's their attempt to tighten this game up. But I'm sure both players are going to remember this.
You thought it was a good call then?
Well, I thought it was a good call in that Thornton did have both hands on him. Had the official waited a split second later, he would have had to call the offensive foul.
26-19. Here's a trap. First time we've seen that, and it works. Larry Nance takes it away from Hersey Hawkins. And almost taken away at the other end. John Williams is trapped. Out of bounds. Cleveland ball.
Jimmy Lynam, as we see here, arguing about the call, declined to practice yesterday. Cleveland did practice. They put a few little wrinkles in, and I'm sure that half-court press was one of them. And it worked on the first instance that they threw it on Philly. Philly now has to adjust.
Scott Brooks is going to come in and add some defensive harassment for Philadelphia now. John Williams at the line. Now Scott Brooks will take Johnny Dawkins' place. Here's Brooks in his 3rd year out of Cal Irvine. He will go non-stop with Mark Price as long as he is in the game.
Well, that's the thing that the Sixers have to do. They've been playing Dawkins, Barkley, and Kaminsky an awful lot of minutes. And what happens is, early in the game with the lead, they have to rest them to get some fresh legs down the stretch.
Mahorn. Hersey Hawkins slashes in the middle. Thornton puts it back up, misses it, gets the next one.
Well, Bob Thornton substituting for Mike Kaminsky doesn't give you that outside threat, may not be the best passer, but in a game like this, a deciding game situation, you want the most physical players in there to battle because not a lot of fouls are going to be called underneath. And Bob Thornton does a great job of spreading out and getting good position.
Thornton missed the playoffs last year with an injury, so he is involved in his first playoff series in the NBA. This is the free throw. And we'll shoot one more. That basket did not count. That he made it after the whistle. And he was fouled on the first time up. 3:49 to go. First quarter of play. 1 of 2. Philadelphia 5 of 7 at the free throw line now.
See Hersey Hawkins dogging Steve Kerr. They feel Kerr's vulnerable in handling the ball.
Price gets 2 from the corner. 27-23. The lead is down to 4. Largest lead was 10 at 21-11. Barkley, quick ball movement over to Scott Brooks, who penetrates and takes the jumper. Thornton. Chased down by Cleveland. Mark Price. And the Cavs can cut it to 2. Nice pick and roll. Doherty over Mahorn for 2. Timeout, Philadelphia. Nice run put together by the Cleveland Cavaliers. They trailed by as many as 10. They now trail by just a deuce.
As the Tour de Light rolls across America, someone else has joined the race to win America's favorite light beer, Miller Lite. They have struggled up the Rockies, where they pulled out all the stops. Yes, these guys would not pump pedals cross-country for just any beer. Only the less filling beer that really tastes great, Miller Lite.
Yo, Chris, what are you? I took a shortcut.
St. Louis. All right. Halfway there.
Okay, that was a mixed spring arrangement to go to Mrs. Dorothy Lawrence in New York.
Hello, Mrs. Lawrence.
Hi.
Sending flowers means sending information long distance. However, during busy periods like Mother's Day, connections aren't always made in time. So last year, FTD switched to U.S. Sprint and successfully processed over 2 million orders. Of course, some results simply can't be measured. 100% digital fiber optic data only from U.S. Sprint.
This is the Plymouth Sundance. Not only is it one of the few cars you can buy for under $9,000, it's the only car under $9,000 with a driver's airbag. Just think what you could save.
Financing as low as 0% or $1,000 cash back now on Sundance.
Monday, the hot, the outrageous Arsenio Hall.
Connie, spread the word. I'm winning.
Arsenio and more, face-to-face with Connie Chung, Monday.
Great illustration of the Cleveland Cavalier execution. Mark Price does a great job of drawing players towards him on the pick and roll. Brad Doherty wide open as we see Rick Mahorn hanging back. That's the type of thing that Cleveland uses to burn a lot of people. Now we got Leslie Visser standing by.
Vern, I'm here with 76er General Manager John Nash. John, you're off to a pretty good start, and the fans who are here are excited, but you did not sell this game out until a half an hour before the ball went up. What is the tide of expectation in this town?
Well, you know, the city's been very accustomed to a high level of excellence, and I guess this team has been a little slow to capture the imagination, but we've got a boisterous crowd, and hopefully we'll have a good game.
What about your own expectations? Charles Barkley was quoted saying that if you don't go deep into the playoffs or win a title, then this year will have been for waste.
But we need this series for credibility locally, and we'll think about the next one if we get there.
Great, John. Thank you very much. Vern?
Thank you, Leslie. Ron Anderson makes his first appearance in the game now for the 76ers. As Checkman is on the court. Anderson, Brooks, here's Hawkins. Driving, putting it up. Now that's the move he didn't have a year ago. Slashing in the lane, and that comes as a result of 2 hours a day of work with Fred Carter and David Wingate this summer.
Yep, and he was more than willing to reap the benefits of it, and he's done that all year. So tough for Kerr to guard.
He's known primarily for his outside jumper at Bradley, and here his first year. Here comes Hersey Hawkins. Try it again. Good hustle by Bob Thornton.
Thornton definitely gets the credit for that. He's one of those role players recognizing that the thing that he can lend most to his team's effort is his hustle.
Now Ron Williams, guarded by Ron Anderson. That's a mismatch. And Barkley comes out with a missed shot. That was an unintentional bounce pass to Anderson. The three. Hersey Hawkins explodes after the timeout. And the lead is back to 9.
Cleveland now has to run something half court. Try to get a good shot. Not one like that. Nobody covering the boards, but Williams does a great job anyway.
Hot Rod Williams with a flying elbow, but the foul is called on Philadelphia. Ron Anderson with a look of disbelief on his face. Now let's check those on the court as John Williams goes to the line. Doherty, Williams, Winston Bennett back in the game. Mark Price and Derek Chivas has made his first appearance now for Cleveland. And for Philadelphia, well, here comes Tree Rollins in the ballgame now for Brad Doherty. And for Philadelphia, it's Bob Thornton, Charles Barkley, Hawkins, Scott Brooks, Ron Anderson.
But with the team, Vern, that Cleveland has, the front line, particularly of Hot Rod Williams and Tree Rollins, I look for Philadelphia to try to push it a little bit more, and particularly use Hersey Hawkins and Charles Barkley in the offense.
Hawkins with a crossover dribble. That shot misses. It was for 2. Loose ball comes out in the hands of Ron Anderson. Hawkins for 3. No. Barkley. Tree Rollins. Taken away by the quick hands of Barkley. Jump ball. He's got such great quick hands.
He doesn't necessarily have big hands, but quick and strong hands. Here he challenges Tree Rollins, who as a 7-footer with the experience he has, makes a mistake in bringing the ball down to where he's the same size as Charles Barkley.
Freddie Carter said Barkley's got the best hands I've ever seen. If this was the 1880s and this was the Old West, he'd be a gunfighter and he'd win it for us.
He probably would have a few notches in his gun, that's for sure.
Long tip. 3-on-1. Anderson. Foul by Mark Price. Good foul by Price, huh?
Well, you know, that's as QB Brown mentioned earlier on the basketball show, that's one of those things where, you know, that's a 90% shot by Ron Anderson. You put him on the free throw line. In this particular series, he's shooting 12 for 12. So you really don't know. You trade 90% for maybe 100%. But you can't let people have the easy layups. You got to send the message that if you're going to come in here, you better be ready for the contact.
Ron Anderson really has to play 2 positions today because Derek Smith is unable to go for the Philadelphia 76ers, bothered by tendinitis. So Anderson has to play both small forward and the off guard of the shooting guard position. Derek Smith has played only 15 minutes in the playoffs and will not play today. There's Derek Chivas, acquired in midseason from Houston. Mark Price. Nice pick from John Williams. And Price will go to the line.
Scott Brooks was all over Mark Price, battling him every step of the way, overplaying him in the passing lane, doing a nice job. But the Cavaliers, you have to give them credit for the patience they showed in waiting until Price could get open. They didn't rush it. They didn't go away from his side. And Mark Price does a nice job of penetrating to the basket.
That's 5 of 5 today for Mark Price. Rick Mahorn back in now. And he replaces Bob Thornton, who gets a nice hand. Thornton picks up his 3rd foul and has to sit down. Still perfect at the line. And it's 36-29. Final 30 seconds of the first quarter. Barkley on Williams. Clear it out and send it back. There's the ball movement for Brooks. No. Anderson with a tip.
In that 2-man game, Cleveland has to rotate with the ball movement after they double team the ball, leaving someone open. They also leave the board open because they're zoning in there rather than picking up a man.
Clock ran down before John Williams took a shot. That's the end of the first period with our score. Philadelphia 38, the Cleveland Cavaliers 29.
Hi. Oh, hi. We're having...
Philadelphia with a 9-point edge at the start of the second period, 38-29. Hersey Hawkins with 16 first quarter points. to lead the way. And there's full house now, better than 18,000. Only the second sell-off in the first round of the playoffs in Philadelphia, believe it or not, since 1976-77. Take a look at the offensive rebounds, Len. 10-1 for Philadelphia.
Well, Philadelphia knew they had to be the aggressors right from the start. And inside, that's where they want to do it. And you got Charles Barkley, who's going with a vengeance.
Philadelphia with 11 second chance points. There's a problem with the 24-second clock, so while we wait, let's check in with Leslie Visser. Les?
Vern, in the huddle just now, Lenny Wilkins told his team that two things. He wants them to get a good shot every time down court. Of course, they're pleased with Hot Rod Williams off the bench. He also wants them to rotate well off the double team, so maybe we'll look for that. Vern?
All right, Leslie. Lenny?
Well, the rotation, when Charles Barkley gets on the blocks and the Sixers spread the ball out, what happens is they send a man from the opposite side to double team. Now, when Barkley kicks the ball out, each player has to rotate towards the ball, one up. They're going to leave someone open, but they're also going to leave the board open unless they do a better job of checking people out. That's the problem this guy creates for a team.
7 points for Barkley thus far. The problem right now is with the 24-second clock, and I think they're in the, well, I don't know that they've got it fixed yet. Jimmy Lynam is going to take a jet. Well, this is the first half of our doubleheader today and a big, big weekend of the NBA on CBS. Coming up next, the San Antonio Spurs and the Portland Trail Blazers. San Antonio led by David Robinson. And what a turnaround, the greatest turnaround in the history of the NBA in terms of games won from one season to the next. They won 21 last year, and Portland looked great in sweeping Dallas. Larry Brown in his second season in San Antonio, and I think he might stick around down there.
Well, I think for David Robinson's sake, I'd hope that he does. I have said it before. Larry Brown is probably the best coach that I played for in my 10 years of professional basketball because he does such a great job with younger players, and he knows how to mix the veterans in. He keeps everyone enthusiastic about playing this game. That's a difficult chore for a coach, considering the amount of games that you have to play over the year, and his success speaks for itself.
That's coming up next on CBS, and tomorrow a doubleheader for you with New York and Boston, Game 5 from the Garden in Boston, followed by Utah and Phoenix, Game 5 from Salt Lake City. Well, we got the clock fixed and we're on the way. Jaminski back in. Brooks. Ron Anderson. Here's Barkley in the low post, this time guarded by Bennett. Goes over Bennett and gets the shot.
Charles Barkley makes a quicker move to the middle, quicker than the double team can get to him, and that's when he goes one-on-one with Winston Bennett, and that's no contest.
Largest lead in the ball game now, 11 points, 40-29. Derek Chivas, Winston Bennett over Jaminski, air ball, Mahorn, loose ball, goes to Philadelphia.
Can't say enough about the Philadelphia defense. They've pretty much shut off the penetration of the guards, and now they're passing the ball east to west rather than towards the basket, which is north-south, and not getting good shots.
Barkley to Jaminski. Nope, off the mark. So Mike is still having problems. That ball deflected by Brooks goes back to Bryce. Brooks right in his face. Takes away the move to the right. So Brooks goes left and dishes to Chivas. Mahorn. 4-on-2. Barkley has it go right behind it.
What Charles Barkley was thinking, rather than go out with both hands and receive it, he was trying to throw a touch pass.
Barkley seemed to be indicating, my fault, my fault. 4 turnovers for Philadelphia, 3 for Cleveland. Elo back in the lineup now. Craig Elo. Brooks works on him. Tree Rollins. Jump hook. Too strong. Barkley will slow it down this time. Nope, here's Anderson on the run. Rick Mahorn. Derek Chivas for Cleveland. Scott Brooks took the charge. Foul on Brooks.
And I guarantee you that Lenny Wilkins is going to pull Derek Chivas. He wanted his team to stay out of the shenanigans, didn't want him to defocus. got to expect Philadelphia to do the same thing Cleveland's doing, and that's not allowed an easy basket.
And then Mahorn came in there to act as a peacemaker. Take a look at it again.
Chivas might have been better off in dishing it off. He had drawn Scott Brooks toward him. But then there's just a little bit of a staring contest afterwards.
I'll tell you a little bit about Scott Brooks. When he graduated from Cal Irvine, he was playing in a summer league in Los Angeles. That's when Jimmy Lynam first saw him. He was playing against Doc Rivers of Atlanta and holding his own. And Lynam said, "Hey, who is this kid?" And he called Jerry Tarkanian, who had played against Brooks in college. Tarkanian says, "I'll tell you who he is. He's 5'10", 170, and we could never stop him." He was signed as a free agent by Philly, spent 1 year in the CBA, and then made the team last year. That is Scott Brooks, 40-31. Cleveland has never led, trailed by 10 early on, and then cut it back to 2. Here's Nance, taken away. Barkley, nice bounce pass. Rick Mahorn, thump and bump.
Cleveland has got to solve the Philadelphia defense, and once they get someone open, they've got to be able to get the ball to him. Philly with a nice job in the hands in the lane.
Here comes 76ers running again. 3-on-2. Barkley. Timeout on the court. The lead is 11. 9:07 to go.
This is something different. The body panels will never rust. The seats can be arranged to seat up to 7. And ask yourself, have you ever traveled like this before? Meet the new Family Lumina APV. When it comes to new ideas for the family, nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevrolet.
If you care enough about your lawn to get a Craftsman mower, more power to you.
Right now, our most powerful Craftsman self-propelled mower with 5 horsepower and 22-inch cut is just $2.99.
And there's only one place to get it. Sears.
Own a foreign car, Midas has the right brake parts in stock for practically every foreign car. And our brake technicians are trained experts, so we do the job right and right away. For foreign car brakes, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
The Tour de Light is rolling across America.
Where's Woody?
And they might be coming to your town with lots of instant prizes. If a Miller Lite biker spots you holding a Miller Lite, you could win up to $10,000 and a Raleigh bicycle. So pick up the less filling beer that really tastes great, and you might pick up $10,000 as the Tour de Light races across America.
This crowd of better than 18,000 enjoying themselves here on the first Saturday in May. As the 76ers have taken control early on, they lead Cleveland 42-31. 9:07 to go. Hersey Hawkins with 16. Tomorrow, the basketball show. Pat and Bill at 12:30 Eastern Time. And then 2 Game 5s in our NBA doubleheader. The Knicks and the Celtics back in the Boston Garden at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. And Phoenix and Utah, 3:30 Eastern Time from Salt Lake City. All of that tomorrow.
Well, those 2 Game 5s seem to be tales of 2 cities. In Boston, you kind of expect something to happen good for the Celtics. Out there in Utah, it may be anybody's basketball game. 2 very closely played games before, and these 2 teams are very hotly contesting each other for that 5th game.
Barkley 1 of 1 thus far at the free throw line. That's been his problem in the playoffs. Charles, who missed 5, he was 8 of 13 in Game 4, hitting only 58% in the playoffs. It's the one thing he's had problems with.
I'll tell you, in this complete physical domination, Charles Barkley has led Philadelphia inside with all the banging on the offensive board. I think that's where Philadelphia's gained their confidence. Now they're running just about anything they want.
They clear out for Barkley. He takes the 3. Air ball. 42-31. Greg Elo Derek Chivas, Doherty back in, guarded by Jaminski. There's the dish back to Doherty, and Mahorn now switches. Rod Williams goes over Jaminski, and Barkley has the rebound and the foul. No foul. He's pushed out of bounds.
Well, the Sixer defense has really sealed off the middle, something that we mentioned they had to do. Now the guys for Cleveland, the big people, are turning to the baseline, not even getting a foot in the lane and taking much longer shots.
Anderson for two. Rebound with the hands of Craig Elo. Doherty this time with a double team. Ron Anderson hurries over and picks up Derek Chivas.
Good communication between Anderson and Jaminski on the mismatch.
Elo got it.
Exactly what Cleveland needs. Someone to penetrate and kind of open it up a little bit, force some switches so they can find the open people on the dish-off.
Now they're working the right side. Jaminski will set the screen for Dawkins, who elects to go to his right. Reverse layup is not good, but he will go to the line. Substitutions now. Mark Price coming back in, and Hersey Hawkins for Cleveland and Philadelphia, respectively. There is Mark Price. Charles Barkley will get a rest as Hawkins comes in for Barkley.
Vern, it's important to point out, with a 9-point lead and 7:46 left, you know how much Barkley means to the Sixers. This will be pretty pivotal here. If Cleveland comes back and narrows the gap while Charles Barkley's on the bench, it'll prove something to the Sixers that he may not get a rest for the rest of the game, and also give Cleveland a little bit more confidence.
Well, mark the time. It's 7:45 to go in the half when Barkley sits down, and the lead is 44-33. Ito guarded by Hersey Hawkins. Anderson fronting on Larry Nance and does a good job, but then gets called for the foul.
And even though it's a loose ball foul, which means that it was after the shot attempt, as we see the lob to Larry Nance, who gets good position. Anderson still keeping a body on him, loses contact. The foul occurs after the attempt.
Now Doherty, top of the key. Looks to Elo cutting, settles instead for Price. Nice quick move to the right. And there's a mismatch. Doherty with Hawkins on him. The shot from the corner by Hadron Williams, who now has 12 points off the bench.
That's what the Cavs would like to get back to. Better ball movement, finding the open man. That lends balance to their offense, which makes things tough.
Dawkins to Jaminski. Still doesn't have the shot. Jaminski now 1 of 5 from the field, so he is 4 of 24 in the last 2.5 games. Baseline move by John Williams over Ron Anderson.
That was what Fred Carter, when we talked to him yesterday, of the Sixers, was afraid of. That particular matchup, Williams and Anderson. No way Ron Anderson can guard Hot Rod Williams. They're going to have to double team on the other end or use Anderson to pay him back.
Rims out for Anderson. Rebound Cleveland. Here they come. It was an 11-point lead when Barkley sat down. It's a 7-point lead right now. Doherty, no. Anderson rebound. Hersey Hawkins off the feed from Johnny. Dawkins gets 2 more. He's got 18.
That's not fancy. That's just plain good basketball. Two guys working together very well. You give and go. You give them a look and you take them away. That's what Hersey Hawkins did. Wound up making a shot.
Mahorn putting a chest into John Hadron Williams and takes a foul.
Rick was actually helping him up that time. He didn't want him to fall.
Right. Time has been called. 5:49 to go in the first half of play. 46-37, Philadelphia.
Michelin high-performance radios. Everything you would expect from a Michelin, only faster. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Hank and Frank on what kids will do to remind parents that Tuesday is Kids Night at Pizza Hut. They may serenade you. Tuesday night, Kids Night. Tuesday night. From the old codfish trick. Or hire professional help.
Tuesday night, Kids Night. Take 'em.
At Kids Night, kids get a free magazine and their own personal pan pizza absolutely free when you order yours. So take them. It's that or face. Pizza Hut. Ninja Duck. Making it great for kids.
If you haven't driven a GM car in the last 4 or 5 years, you have no idea how good we are now. We've introduced 77 new models, all engineered to improve quality. Nobody else has done that.
We have better engines, transmissions, and electrical systems. We are putting quality on the road today.
A special tribute, the split-second decisions and last-minute heroics that mean the difference between life and death on a very special Rescue 911 Tuesday.
Just under 6 minutes remaining first half. Neither team shooting particularly well from the field thus far. The offensive board's owned by Philadelphia. They've got 14 second chance points off those 10 offensive rebounds. And they have a 46-37 lead, 5:49. A lot of conversation about how to defend Brad Daugherty. Now I think Philadelphia needs to worry, Lenny, as you said, about John Williams, who's got all those points off the bench.
Well, it's part of the chess match that both coaches talked about. John Williams comes in. It's very difficult for the Sixers to match up to him. But so far, they've done a great job, Philadelphia has, of staying with their offensive plan, and that is offensive rebounding and getting the points that they need. Williams will be offset to a certain extent by that type of battle inside because he's going to have to work.
John Williams stays on the court with Price, Elo, Nance, and Daugherty for Cleveland. And it's Hawkins and Hawkins along with Kaminsky, Mahorn, and Ron Anderson for Philadelphia. Both teams essentially using a 7-man rotation here in Game 5. Chucky Brown unavailable for Cleveland with an injury, and Derek Smith, as we told you, will not play. Here's Daugherty. Williams with a rebound. Penetration by Price. Larry Nance. There's an offensive rebound by Williams, but he misses the shot.
3 opportunities, and Cleveland still can't put it down. The physical play may be wearing them down a bit.
Dawkins, Kaminsky, foul.
There's a message for Mike Kaminsky. If you can't make him from 20, let's try him from 2.
Back to an 11-point edge. Daugherty.
We mentioned it earlier, Brad Daugherty has been accused by the Sixers of lowering the boom with that right shoulder. That time Mike Kaminsky tried to illustrate it vividly for the officials. No call and 2 points for Cleveland.
48-39, 4:44 to go, first half. Mahorn. And Price comes out of there for Cleveland. 3-on-3. Williams. Nice pass and a foul on Hersey. Hawkins will send Larry Nance to the line. Interesting, when you and I talked to Lenny Wilkins last night about the pressures in Game 5, and we've talked about the home court advantage, he said he thought the pressure was all on Philadelphia today. Do you agree with that?
Well, having played in some deciding games, being the home team is very difficult, particularly if you're not out to a great start as time goes on, because the anxiety catches up to you, the anxiety of the crowd, of your teammates, and you really feel the pressure. You're supposed to win, and if you're not winning as time ticks down, you're in trouble. But if you're the aggressor like Philadelphia is today, jump out to a good lead from the start, it makes it a lot easier to play this game.
Just a note, Charles Barkley back in after a 3-minute and 14-second rest. The lead was 11 when he went down. It is 7 as he comes back in. So Cleveland did gain 4 in Barkley's absence. Price, continuation play. He'll go to the free throw line.
Well, Jimmy Lynam did a nice job of keeping Charles on the bench as long as he thought he could, as long as he thought the momentum was going his way. Once he sensed the momentum change, which was Cleveland penetrating a little bit more, getting 2 and 3 opportunities on the offensive rebounds, that's the time he decides to put back his hammer, and that's Charles Barkley.
Scott Brooks will come back in. Cleveland now 18 of 20 from the free throw line. 19 of 21. Big edge for the Cavaliers. Indicates, I suppose, that they're being more aggressive in going to the basket.
And also, they're getting open shots that Philadelphia is forced to tackle them on.
Barkley in the low post. Double down with Larry Nance. Back to Mahorn. 18-footer, no. Doherty with a rebound. Nance bobbles the ball. Gets it back from Price. Hersey, Hawkins. Barkley. Foul on Doherty, so Barkley will again go to the free throw line, whereas we said he is hitting only 58% during the course of the 4 games previously played. 1 of 3 today. At the conclusion of our game, Lenny Elmore and I will select the Miller Lite Player of the Game in conjunction with that award. Light Beer will present a check in the amount of $1,000 in the player's name to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. 2 of 2 for Barkley this trip. Back to a 7-point edge, 50-43. Cleveland eliminated in Game 5 of the first round, both of the last 2 years, both times by Chicago. Mark Price, short. Mahorn. Brooks, 4-on-2. Jaminski can't handle the pass, but he will shoot a couple.
Well, we talked about a lack of focus right now, and Mike Jaminski seems to be worrying more about his lack of offensive output than actually doing the fundamental things that will allow him to help his team. Took his eye off that pass. He was bailed out on the second layup by Larry Nance. But the problem with Jaminski is that he has to know that there are other things he can do to help his team besides score. In that case, he'll relax a little bit.
Is that an easy thing to do?
Well, not when you have every daily in the city and every fan in the stadium screaming at you. It's very difficult to do. But if you're a veteran, you just have to block all that out and revert more or less to instinct.
Mike was quite candid. He said, yes, I read that stuff. And yes, I hear the radio talk shows. And yes, it bothers me. But he has persevered.
He's still out there and he's still battling. That's the most you can say.
You bet. Illegal defense. Illegal defense for the first time today. Time has been called. With 2:57 to go in the first half of play. 52-43 Philadelphia.
As the Tour de Light rolls across America, someone else has joined the race to win America's favorite light beer, Miller Lite. They have struggled up the Rockies, where they pulled out all the stops. Yes, these guys would not pump pedals cross-country for just any beer. Only the less filling beer that really tastes great, Miller Lite.
Yo, Chris, what are you? I took a shortcut.
St. Louis. All right. Halfway there.
So much to do and so little time. When it's time to finance or lease your new GM vehicle, let GMAC do it right in the dealership. GMAC. Nobody wants to get you into your new GM car or truck faster, so you'll have time for more important things.
We asked the International Motorsports Association to challenge the top 4 compact 4x4s in a test of climbing power in the Baja.
The Baja. Off-road racing doesn't get any tougher.
All 4 powered up the hill. But Chevy S10 left the others in the dust. The new 1991 Chevy S10, kicking dirt and taking names.
The heartbeat of America.
Today's truck is Chevrolet.
We'll get you back to the Spectrum in a moment. Pat O'Brien in New York with a reminder that coming up on the Prudential at the half, we'll check in on our doubleheader game as Portland and San Antonio prepare to open their Western Conference semifinal series later today. And we'll show you how Clyde the Glide Drexler has blazed some new trails off the court. All that and much, much more at a familiar place, the Prudential at the half. And Vernon Lamb, it looks like everything is happening out there. Wouldn't it be great if Dave Zinkoff, their late PA announcer, could be around to see this? Oh, how he loved the playoffs.
Patrick, I would love to hear Dave Zinkoff announce the playoffs. He's probably the best-known public address announcer in the history of the NBA and has a banner hanging high atop the spectrum in between Billy Cunningham and Julius Erving. That's high praise indeed, Len Elmore.
Well, it was always a pleasure to come in here and hear the Zink say things like, the person who has license plate number, blah, 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 your lights are on, your doors are locked, and your engine is running. See about 20 people jump up and run outside to make sure.
52-43. Field goals this period, neither team hitting particularly well. 4 of 15 for Cleveland, 4 of 14 for Philadelphia. 52-43. Again, Cleveland has had the halftime lead in each of the previous 4 games. Dead even for the year. The two teams were 2-2 in regular season play, 2-2 in the playoffs. Winner today against Chicago in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Doherty, Elo.
Rick Mahorn has switched to John Williams right now. A much better matchup for Philadelphia.
Yeah, Mahorn went after Instant Bennett and lost Williams on the baseline.
That's the problem the Sixers have had. They've had their interior defensive guys play passing lane and lose their men. Consequently, the men lay it up on them. 16
points for John Hot Williams off the bench. Scott Brooks spots up in the corner. Mark Price gives him a shot and doubles down on Barkley, who makes him pay.
Without putting it on the floor, but good recognition by Charles of where the defense was.
54-45 during the 2-minute mark of the first half. It's been Philadelphia's lead throughout the entire first half. Price, the tip by Bennett. No, Jaminski with the rebound.
You got to give Scotty Brooks a lot of credit right there. He never gave an inch on Mark Price and forced a bad shot.
Barkley works on Bennett. Lead is back to 11.
The next minute and a half, also important for Cleveland, got to reestablish their confidence offensively. Right now, they can't get what they want.
Skip pass all the way across to Doherty. Jaminski is late getting over there, and Brad Doherty quiets the crowd. 56-47.
If you're Cleveland, you want to go in the locker room on an upbeat note. We've trimmed the lead a bit. But right now, the way Philadelphia is playing on both ends of the floor, they're going to be hard-pressed to feel that good about themselves.
That's off Elo's hand. It'll be Philadelphia's to throw inbounds. 8 seconds left on the shot clock.
Little diplomacy pass practice by Charles Barkley. He thought he was fouled.
Brooks. Ron Anderson's going to hurry into the lineup now for Philadelphia. Scotty Brooks goes to the free throw line. Not coming in yet. 2 for Scott Brooks. Scott with a noticeable sigh of relief after that one rolled in. Here comes Anderson. And Hersey Hawkins will get a rest. Now, Kurt Nymphius is also going to make his first appearance of the first half. And Mike Jaminski heads to the bench.
Well, that's got to be heartening to Mike. People recognize the fact that he's still giving it effort, and that may help him in the second half.
Couldn't get the roll on this one, so 1 of 2 now. The edge still belongs to Philadelphia at the free throw, rather Cleveland at the free throw line. Good defensive job by Brooks, getting right in the chest of Elo. Foul on Scott Brooks.
He's a competitor. He did take a swipe at the ball and in the process get a piece of Elo, but the way he plays defense, you know, he reminds you of that mosquito on a fishing trip. He gets inside your net, you just can't get rid of him. And here he is. He takes that swipe, and that's where the foul was called. But he gets an E for effort.
Greg Elo short with the shot.
When you talk about complementary players, this is another guy you have to really look at and see how well he blends with his team, with his hustle and ability.
Loose ball, Elo. Final 42 seconds. Bennett flying over the back is going to get called for the foul. Winston Bennett picks up his third. And Philadelphia goes to the line with 38.7 seconds left in the half.
Even though Philadelphia is in a penalty, Winston Bennett has to be maybe something of what disappointed. He couldn't get to the board. Lenny Wilkins, on the other hand, can't be upset with that kind of play. Bennett's trying to make something happen, and it's a hustle play. He is going to the offensive board.
Number of rebounds by each team, or rather free throws, about to even up. 17 of 19 for Philadelphia now. Doherty over Kurt Nimpius.
It's just forced into the baseline, which is where they want him to go. They don't feel he's that effective there, but Doherty proves otherwise.
Shot clock shows 11. Less than a second difference in the game clock. Illegal defense.
That's an illegal defense called against the Cavaliers.
That's the first, so that's the warning, and 3.4 seconds left in the first half.
Well, it was called because Brad Doherty was guarding Kurt Nimpius, who was standing beyond, or at least beyond the three-point area, and Brad Doherty can't stand in the lane, which is what he was doing.
That was the second illegal defense call, so
Sixers take a 20-second
the free throw no good by Scott Brooks. And a 20-second timeout has been called by
Well, I don't know if we can do it on that one because the ball was on the opposite side. But we'll take a look anyway.
Take a look at this illegal defense, man.
All right, well, what happened right now is that actually the ball was on the opposite side. The ball was about here. Nimpius was out here, and Doherty stayed in the lane. This perforated line here determines that if a man stands outside in this area, this man must stand beyond that area. And Brad Doherty was caught sneaking in the lane. He's playing his zone even though the ball was in this area and pulled it down. He has 2.9 seconds to stay in this area, but he didn't. He stayed in there a lot longer, and that's usually what happens. Officials will recognize that and call it.
One of the variations of the illegal defense, probably the most misunderstood element of NBA play.
I mean, it is certainly difficult because you see the perforated lines. There are so many variables. Luckily, we could break that one down a little bit. I don't know how well it is to be understood on that board. But again, if you're standing in a certain area away from the ball on the weak side, you've got 2.9 to play your man.
We've got 3.4 now before halftime. Barkley. He thought he might have a shot at it. That's the end of the first half with our score. Philadelphia 59, the Cavaliers 49. Pat O'Brien will be along with the Prudential at the half after this message.
Uh-oh. What's wrong? There's just 1 minute made left. I'll play you for it. Yo, great game.
Yeah. I got thirsty just watching you guys.
Minute Maid Orange, the orange, the official soft drink of the NBA.
What pain reliever are doctors recommending more and more every year? Advil. Since its introduction, Advil doctor recommendations have grown every year and now total more than 35 million. See, Advil is different. Just one Advil is as effective as 2 regular-strength Tylenol. And Advil is gentler to your stomach than aspirin. Before, there was only aspirin or Tylenol. But today, there's Advil. Advil, tablets and caplets. Advanced medicine for pain.
If you care enough about your lawn to get a Craftsman mower, more power to you.
Right now, our most powerful Craftsman self-propelled mower with 5 horsepower and 22-inch cut is just $2.99.
And there's only one place to get it. Sears.
Regardless of what some people think, all spark plugs aren't alike.
These AC copper core plugs match my car's specs for up to 30,000 miles of high revving firepower.
AC Delco parts. They don't just fit, they match. Sean Connery, Kevin Costner, taking on Al Capone.
I want to hurt the man.
The Untouchables, Sunday.
It's the USA Today CBS All-Star Sweepstakes. Your vote can help decide the starting teams in the All-Star game. It's your chance to vote and win a grand prize of $25,000 and a trip to Chicago for the All-Star game, plus star-studded Hollywood. Ballots Tuesday and Wednesday in USA Today. It's your chance to vote and win.
CBS Sports presents The Prudential at the Half. Sponsored by the companies of the Prudential. Come to the Prudential and build your future on the Rock.
Well, our score at the half, the 76ers lead the Cavs Game 5 by 10 points. And hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien along with Bill Raftery, and welcome again to the Prudential at the half. And Bill, Lenny Wilkins got to have an alarm clock for Craig Elo. 2 points in the first half.
Well, there's a comfort zone you have as a coach, and you rely on certain performers, and Craig Elo has not stepped up to bat. He's got to drill the open jumper, particularly when they leave him to help on Doherty.
On the 76ers side, they got Hersey Hawkins out of the box early, didn't they?
And that was key, really. They got that expanded the lead with him spotting up for the three-pointer. Philly pushed the basketball up the floor, and as you'll notice here, everybody's trying to help out on the big guys. Cleveland's people have to get back. You see Kerr in the middle trying to assist the dribble penetration, and yet get back on Hersey, who, as you know, can drill that spot-up jumper as well as anybody. He certainly has his confidence this year.
Isn't that pretty? We can't do that.
No, we can't reach from there.
It is doubleheader day here on CBS. When we get done at the Spectrum, we'll send you out to the Portland Coliseum for a Game 1 matchup between the Trailblazers and the San Antonio Spurs. Let's check in on that one now with Greg Gumbel and Quinn Buckner, who are somewhere inside that building. Fellas?
Right, you are, OB. In fact, if need be this afternoon, we could play this game outdoors. It is a beautiful day in the Northwest with sunny skies and temperatures in the mid-70s. And welcome to the Memorial Coliseum here in Portland, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel for Game 1 in a series that involves two of the best teams in basketball. Don't just take my word for it. The numbers tell the story. The Portland Trailblazers and the San Antonio Spurs posted two of the best 4 records in the NBA this season. And Quinn Buckner working alongside me this afternoon. In the San Antonio Spurs, folks may see a team that they just did not know how good they are this year.
Well, I don't think that most people do, but they got one player, David Robinson. Folks, listen for this guy. He's very good. 7 feet, quick to the basketball, as good as anybody playing. Rookie of the Year, potential MVP candidate.
On the flip side of the court, with the Portland Trailblazers, you have the dynamic Clyde Drexler.
Well, one of my ex-teammates call him the dreaded Mr. Drexler. Clyde Drexler is also an MVP candidate. Very quick. Some people call him the Michael Jordan of the West. Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson have said, when you consider MVP candidates, you got to consider Clyde Drexler.
Well, Clyde Drexler is ready, and David Robinson is ready, and we're going to be ready in a little bit. Game 1 of this Western Conference semi coming up later today here on CBS. Right now, back to New York and Pat O'Brien. Pat?
And I hate to jump on ourselves, but we're looking forward to that game, to see Clyde and David Robinson. It's
Absolutely.
Gonna be,
fast pace.
Yeah, great one. San Antonio and Portland, that's coming up in our doubleheader game today here on CBS. When we come back here, we'll glide through a story on the Trailblazers' driving force, Clyde Drexler. That and more as At the Half rolls on from 57th Street after a commercial and a word from your local station. Stay with us.
That was all wrong. We belong together.
I know.
So let's get married.
Buy a big house.
Sure, we're gonna hit it big, kid. Stocks, bonds. We're on our way to Rainbow City.
In the movies, happy endings are easy, but in the real world, they take solid planning. So for investment advice, peace of mind, even buying or selling a home, come to the companies of the Prudential and build your future on the Rock.
Buckle up, Beverly Hills. Eddie Murphy is back to take care of business.
How long would it take to shave those legs anyway?
A network television premiere, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Tuesday.
It's everything you always wanted to know about the NBA, but were afraid to ask. Meet two men with no such fear. O'Brien, Raftery, with the inside word, the word on the street, the word you long to hear. On a show so thorough, it could only be called The Basketball Show. A total NBA experience.
This is CBS.
When he heard the news, he left in haste. Didn't want to miss that big, bold taste.
A quarter-pound of beef on a toasted rye bun, cheddar cheese sauce, and grilled onion. McDonald's Cheddar Melt. Cheddar Melt. For a limited time. To go at McDonald's. Hurry to McDonald's and enjoy the big, bold, new taste of Cheddar Melt. Now just $1.79. Don't miss it. Limited time offer. Only at McDonald's.
This is our country. And this. And this. And there's a tough tractor that's built with quality crafted American parts for the truly unique landscape of America. It's the tough tractor that's been American-made for over 25 years. This tractor's a Cub Cadet. All American from the ground up. Cub Cadet. Tough tractors for your little corner of the world.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Dean, inviting you to join us right here this weekend for our show. You know, there's a lot of outdoor shows that broadcast across America, but we're the only ones that do things right in your backyard. So if it's happening anywhere from Cando to Hot Springs or Williston to Canton, Lake Sakakawea, Lake Oahe, Lake Sharp, Devil's Lake, Lake Thompson, if it's hunting and fishing in the Dakotas, you're going to see it right here. So please join us this weekend.
Tony Dean, Saturdays at 5.
Dennis Silva, KX4 Sports.
As you might imagine, the score has not changed. The Philadelphia 76ers still lead Cleveland 59-49. And welcome back to the Prudential at the Half here in our New York studios. And, you know, every team has its leader on and off the court, and the player they follow out in Portland is Clyde Drexler. From Phi Slamma Jamma to the NBA, Clyde has proven himself over and over again on the court, and he doesn't make many turnovers off the court as well. Clyde Drexler, our story now from Andrea Joyce.
This is how we were introduced to Clyde Drexler 7 years ago. This is still our image after 6 years in the NBA. But make no mistake, there is more to Clyde than meets the glide.
Basketball is very important, but I don't think anybody can win every time. Even though you may try, it's never going to happen. So you just got to accept what happens and go on with your life. I think the best thing in the world is love of God and love of family.
When you're with Clyde, it's clear what means most to him, son Austin and wife Gaynell. And if this doesn't quite fit the slam dunk image, well, remember, it's a long way from the old days in Houston. Clyde was a mediocre high school player back then, but an outstanding student of life. Clyde Drexler knows what it's like to be a kid in the inner city. Growing up in a crime-infested neighborhood of Houston, he witnessed firsthand the despair so many young people faced. But Drexler found a way to heal the wounds of the past. It's not so much slamming and jamming as it is giving of himself.
I think there's a big misperception about Clyde Drexler. I thought that he was an egotistical, spoiled star who didn't want to work very hard and let his talent coast him through. And what I found was something the complete opposite.
During the off-season, Clyde Drexler quietly heads up a children's camp in Houston and one here in Portland. But Drexler's lesson goes beyond the basketball court. With a lot of time and care, he teaches good school habits and drug awareness.
I know he doesn't do it so people say, well, Clyde Drexler's a good guy. He does it because he wants to do it. He does not do things to impress people. That's not Clyde. He does things because he wants to do it.
Well, I feel like it's something that I can give back to the community. And I think they really, the results are great.
Drexler's on-court results are great, too. He's a 4-time NBA All-Star. But his non-emotional style of play leads some to suspect a chameleon-like personality.
87, 88, we had a good year. We won 53 games. I was a changed man that year. And 88, 89, we had a bad year. Once again, somebody's got to take the blame. And I was the guy who had to take the blame, and no problem. And this year, the team's having a good year. I'm a good guy again. So it kind of looks like as the team goes, so does everyone else. And in professional sports, I think you got to take that burden with you.
So are you the same guy you were 3 years ago, 4 years ago, last year?
I'm the same guy I was 5, 6 years ago.
Too often with professional sports, we try to simplify the picture. Clyde Drexler, the slam dunk artist. But dig a little deeper and you see the real man living in a real world. A man who sets a standard of excellence by holding a balanced perspective of life. In Portland, Andrea Joyce, CBS Sports.
I guarantee you he won't drop that baby.
No, good hands.
He's one of the superstars. He doesn't get enough pub, though. He's up there in the Northwest.
He's certainly ready for Broadway and the bright lights. He's a great talent. And more importantly, this may help him a little in the open floor with Duckworth not in there. He'll play a little bit more forward. They might slide Cliff Robinson into start, keep Coop on the bench.
We'll see him later on today. Time now for Vernon Lynn to go back to work. For Bill Raftery, I'm Pat O'Brien. Thank you for joining us on the Prudential at the Half. Enjoy the second half here on CBS.
The Prudential at the Half has been sponsored by the companies of the Prudential. Come to the Prudential and build your future on the rock.
Give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball!
You got a thirst.
Give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball!
You know what you need. Fluids and minerals fast. Energy for hard-working muscles. Nothing better. Give me some of that Gatorade.
To protect your car's rubber, vinyl, and plastic from the elements, you could use Armor All Protectant and drive your car to work. Or you could just drive your car to work. Of course, there are alternatives. But only Armor All works like Armor All.
This is really weird. I have to shampoo a lot. And every time I do, my hair gets wet, but my scalp gets dry. It's tight and itchy. The more I shampoo, the drier it can get. Now, I can't stop shampooing, but I can use this. New dry scalp shampoo from Head & Shoulders. Made a different way, so it doesn't dry out your scalp like those other guys can. Try Head & Shoulders' new dry scalp shampoo and help wipe out dry scalp.
They've dropped off now.
Dare you!
Hey, wubba, 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 NBA action. It's fantastic.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1990 NBA playoffs is sponsored by Jeep and Eagle, official vehicles of the NBA. Minute Maid Orange Soda, the official soft drink of the NBA. And by UPS for guaranteed overnight delivery from coast to coast. UPS runs the tightest ship in the shipping business.
Halftime of Game 5 in this best-of-5 series. Philadelphia up by 10. And this is the first time in the series that Philadelphia's had a halftime edge. Charles Barkley hasn't had a monster game yet, but it's been more than adequate, Len.
Well, his presence certainly has been felt, not only in the pivot when he gets the ball inside, but on the offensive boards. And the problem that Cleveland has is that, one, he's got somewhat of a mismatch as far as the strength situation is concerned. Winston Bennett on him really can't stop him, even though he's double-teamed. Without putting it on the floor, he finds a way to get the ball up to the basket. And when his team misses, more times than not, he's there to get the offensive rebound with 4 offensive rebounds so far.
And he's 6 of 10 from the field for 15 points. The leading scorers in the first half off the bench in 22 minutes. John Hot Rod Williams with 16 points for Cleveland. Hersey Hawkins had 16 in the first quarter of play and wound up with 18 at halftime. And what an improvement in 1 year.
Well, last year he was somewhat of a disappointment against the Knicks, with Philadelphia being ousted in one series, 3 straight games. But he's worked very hard during the summer, as we mentioned. Fred Carter is the guy who's given him the confidence and had him go out there and work on some of the things he's been so successful with today, particularly off the dribble, taking people, utilizing his quickness and his good touch.
Let's check those on the court as we start quarter number 3 now. Philadelphia will inbound with Dawkins and Hawkins in the backcourt, Juminski, Mahorn, and Barkley, so they've got their starting 5 on the floor. Go ahead, Glenn.
No, I was going to say defensively, they really have to take away the second shot opportunities, which they didn't there, although Philadelphia didn't convert. That's one thing that's really hurt Cleveland today.
Elo, Williams, Price, Nance, and Doherty for Cleveland. Elo trying to post up and then cuts across Loose ball. Off Doherty, out of bounds. Philadelphia. Quickly at the other end, here's Hawkins.
Cleveland a bit shell-shocked right now, allowing easy layups, something that they didn't want to do. That time, 3 defenders ran down court with their heads buried in the ground.
61-49. Mahorn on Nance. There's the pick set for Elo over Barkley. Shot is good.
Craig Elo, someone who has to wake up his team. He hasn't had a real good game today, nor in the first 2 games against Philadelphia in this series. He's got to wake everyone up.
Mahorn too strong with the basket. And here comes Elo up the right side. Elo guarded by Hawkins. Price on Dawkins. There's Jaminski fronting Doherty, and Doherty puts in a soft jump hook.
Cleveland definitely is going to move the ball around, take back some of that real estate. Philadelphia did a nice job defensively of establishing their territory as being the lane. Cleveland's now attacking it.
Cleveland, as you saw, has been hitting excellently from the field at 53%, down to 43 today. Dawkins, that's for 2. Larry Nance comes down with it. 61-53. Doherty this time with Barkley and Mahorn double teaming it. And another turnover. That's 6 turnovers for Philadelphia. Interesting, talking about the difference in turnovers, Lenny. There are interior turnovers and perimeter turnovers, and the perimeter considered much more serious, that last turnover for Cleveland.
Well, when the other team gains possession on a perimeter turnover, there's really no one back to guard in transition except the small guy.
Jump shot no good. Barkley put back. So when you talk about the effect of turnovers in a game, and there haven't been that many in this game, a decided difference in the impact whether it comes out front or in the interior. Nance looks for Doherty. Entry pass. There's the baseline. Jaminski wants him to go that direction, and he missed the shot. 11 rebounds now for Charles Barkley. Here's Dawkins.
Lenny Wilkins has got to call a time right now. Momentum has definitely swung to the Sixers. They're getting their way in transition.
He heard you.
Recently, Four Wheeled Off-Road magazine took this year's 4x4 of the Year winner and all the past winners and conducted a head-to-head showdown to determine the best of the best. So who won? Who do you think? There are a lot of 4x4s out there, but there's only one Jeep.
Get $1,000 cash back or 0% financing on Jeep Cherokee.
If you care enough about your lawn to get a Craftsman mower, more power to you.
Right now, our most powerful Craftsman self-propelled mower with 5 horsepower and 22-inch cut is just $2.99.
And there's only one place to get it. Sears.
The good, the bad, the bumpy. Whatever the road, a Michelin is built to give you all the miles we're famous for. Ride 'em, cowboy.
The Tour de Light is rolling across America.
Where's Woody?
And they might be coming to your town with lots of instant prizes. If a Miller Lite biker spots you holding a Miller Lite, you could win up to $10,000 and a Raleigh bicycle. So pick up the less filling beer that really tastes great, and you might pick up $10,000 as the Tour de Light races across America.
Tonight at 9, some very dangerous people are planning to drop in on your house. The Lost Boys, tonight.
Back here at the Spectrum, it's a really big shoe. Actually, some of you may know that the 76ers, in a vote of team unity, elected to wear all black sneakers. Now, the poor equipment manager had to call 6 sneaker companies in a matter of 48 hours and have them send them on over. He said optimistically he'll have to reorder for the conference final.
Leslie, that open was a groaner. We're going to forgive you for that.
I'd just like to know if those things come with oars. She can
Those were not
threw down
Leslie's
the
shoes,
scoop.
that's for sure. She sounded a little bit like Ed Sullivan there for a second. 65-53, 9 minutes to go. Quarter number 3, the winner takes on the Chicago Bulls in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The loser goes home.
You know, Lenny Wilkins had to talk about getting good shots and taking them when they're open.
There's a foul on Charles Barkley.
Good penetration by Mark Price. The problem Cleveland's had in the beginning of the second half is that they haven't recognized the good shots. They passed up some good shots attempting to hit the open man, and that's a tendency to overpass. And when you overpass, you lose your best opportunity.
Barkley's first foul. Larry Nance, of course, one of the many injured Cleveland Cavaliers this year. One of the major reasons is he misses that they finished only 42-40 in regular season. They lost 154 player games to injury. Milwaukee led the league in that category. There's Jaminski. Still, oh, he got one. And he gave a big grin for Mike Jaminski. He finally gets it to fall.
How do you spell release?
Yes. Largest lead of the ball game now, 13. Hot Rod Williams gets 2 back for Cleveland.
Defensively also is where Cleveland can get back into this thing.
Nice job by Rick Mahorn.
The problem is that they have to get back. People have to be aware of the help side. That's why Cleveland's late in getting over.
Philadelphia 5 of 10 in this quarter. Lead at 13 with 7:50 to go. Quarter number 3. There's a perimeter turnover. And Dawkins fouled by Mark Price. Good foul by Price.
And with the perimeter turnovers, as we mentioned, it's usually the point guard who's back. Mark Price is the only one back defending that time. And more times than not, unless he does a nice job of slowing the point of the ball, it's going to result in a layup. Price did a good job that time.
Johnny Dawkins takes Price one way, then dishes off to Mahorn. Left-handed turnaround jump. Hersey Hawkins gets it back. Has Jaminski open, doesn't spot him. Oh, there's the entry pass to Mahorn. Johnny Dawkins.
Second chance opportunities, again, will kill you. Cleveland still can't keep Philly off the board.
Price will quiet the crowd, but that was on the line. It's just for 2. Elo trying to post up and set the screen. There's Jaminski. Tap back. Dawkins got it. 6:45 to go, third quarter, 73-58. Runner at the other end.
And Mark Price for Cleveland is really the only guy capable of taking the game over with his skill. He is the only one who can answer a Charles Barkley when it comes down the stretch. But Cleveland's got to close this gap.
Foul on Price. That's 3 on Mark Price.
And Vern, you really don't appreciate the type of responsibility a guy like Mark Price has until you see him in this must-game situation. Offensively, he's the key. Defensively, he guards some tough people.
The cutter from Hawkins. And the lead back to 15. Jaminski stripped. 2-on-2. Hawkins.
You could call one company to take your package to an address across town. And you could find somebody to take your package to any address cross-country. Then you could call a third outfit that could take your package overseas. And yet another that could take your package overnight. But there's only one company you could call. if you only wanted to make one call.
Uh-oh. What's wrong? There's just 1 minute made left.
I'll play you for it.
Yo, great game.
Yeah. I got thirsty just watching you guys.
Minute Maid Orange, the orange, the official soft drink of the NBA.
Can you describe the experience of driving your new Eagle Talon in 10 seconds?
I could, but I'd rather show you in 6.3.
Did you know Eagle Talon is one of Automobile Magazine's top 10? Talon has won several prestigious automotive awards, so what's one more? Car and Driver's 10 Best.
Well, what's happening right now with a 17-point lead, the Sixers are the aggressors on the offensive and defensive end. Brad Daugherty puts it on the floor and plays right into the hands of the Sixers and Johnny Dawkins. And it turns into 2 points on the other end, primarily because they are attacking both ends of the floor.
This is the first half of our doubleheader this afternoon. Coming up, game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals, San Antonio and Portland. They are playing in Portland. Clyde Drexler, Buck Williams for the Trailblazers. What a difference he's made this year.
Well, I also played with Buck Williams with the New Jersey Nets right at the beginning of his career, and you could see right away, he being one of the best rebounders in the NBA, that he's an impact player. Wherever he goes, he's going to bring that level of play up on the front line.
That's game 2. Right now, we've got 5:53 to go in the third quarter of play. Largest lead in the ball game, 17 now for the Philadelphia 76ers. Winner gets Chicago. Greg Elo. Charles Barkley brings it down.
Nothing is coming easy for Cleveland. And that's due most in part to the defense of the Sixers.
Hawkins. Good boxing out by Rod Williams. That's the first miss now in a while for Philadelphia.
I mean, you can say they're shooting poorly, but the defense has a lot to do with it. Just like there, Kaminsky contesting the shot.
Mike Jaminski gets the rebound, outlet pass, back to a spotted up Hersey Hawkins. And Jaminski at the other end, but Nance brings it down. 5 minutes to go, quarter number 3. Price, Williams.
John Williams. Well, that's been one of the bright spots on the Cavalier offense is Hot Rod Williams. But you see Cleveland pushing it up and using one pass and a shot. They've got to maximize the opportunities that they get with this deficit.
Barkley beats the double team with a pass out to Jaminski and then grabs the rebound. 12 rebounds for Barkley now. Barkley will go to the free throw line.
Got to be concerned on this man's faith. He knows his team was prepared, but in the matchup situations, Charles Barkley, Rick Mahorn inside on the offensive boards, and Hersey Hawkins outside have been too much for his Cleveland Cavaliers. They've been aggressive. They've been going to the basket without worrying about getting fouled. On the other end, Cleveland really hasn't gotten on track.
Greg Elo getting a word of advice from Lenny Wilkins. Ron Anderson will now replace Rick Mahorn. When he was let go by Detroit in the expansion draft and taken by Minnesota, he used the threat of an offer to play in Italy to free himself from playing with that team as Barkley misses. And trying to work the deal here, Harold Katz, the owner of the 76ers, is the man who most wanted Mahorn and had to talk John Nash and Jimmy Lynam and Fred Carter into it. Finally did. Made a big difference. Nance chases it down. Trap on the baseline. Nice pass back to Daugherty.
That's more indicative of how the Cleveland Cavaliers play when they get the opportunity. The Sixers have sealed off those opportunities with hustling and aggressive defense.
78-64. Pick and roll, Jaminski. They go around the other side, and Anderson takes the shot. Knocked away by Doherty, and Anderson will go to the free throw line. Foul by Larry Nance.
Lenny Wilkins has to continue to shuttle people in on his front line, not only because of the foul situation, but because of the fact that no one up there seems to be able to contain the Sixer offensive rebounder. They're getting second shot after second shot, even now with that 14-point lead.
Anderson perfect at the line today, 4 of 4. Winston Bennett will check back in now for Cleveland. Perfect at the line today, 4 of 4. Winston Bennett will check back in now for Cleveland. Lead back to 16 at 80-64. Denial defense by Charles Barkley, and it's knocked out of bounds off Barkley's hand. 7 more field goals for Philadelphia in the ballgame, and 17 more shots.
Many of them coming on second shot opportunities. As we mentioned, that's been the key so far.
Huge offensive rebounding edge for the 76ers. Price knifes through. Doherty chases it down. Shot clock at 3, 2. He got rid of it in time. And then Barkley loses control. Elo is belted.
Well, the ball comes off the board, and lo and behold, a break for the Cavaliers, something they haven't seen many of tonight or today.
Wow, that is more than a hard foul.
Yeah, and when you hear the fans groan, the hometown Sixer fans groan, you have to recognize that there's something more behind that. And after they cheered when Elo went down, I sure hope it was because of the fact that he got back up and not because of that play.
Steve Kerr replaces Winston Bennett for the Cavaliers.
Steve Kerr comes back on the court now for Cleveland. Charles Barkley's second foul. Elo gets them both. Elo a big factor in game 1 here. Hasn't been today, or in game 3 rather, the win in Cleveland when he had 25 points. So it's Kerr, Elo, and Price. And Ron Anderson cuts through and puts one off the glass. Doherty. Barkley. Third foul.
And Philadelphia not willing to give an inch. Good help side after Mike Jaminski gambles. Difficult to see right now, but after the last foul, I have a feeling that the officials are going to watch Charles Barkley very closely.
Rick Mahorn will check back in now and replace Mike Jaminski. So on the court for Cleveland, you've got Elo, Price, and Kerr, along with Doherty and Williams. Free throw missed. Hawkins, 2 points. 26 for Hersey Hawkins. Philadelphia ball.
Vern, after that errant pass by Brad Doherty, you could see him motioning to Lenny Wilkins that I tried to get it up. They're starting to have problems now offensively. They're not getting the ball to the guard to start the plays. It seems like the center and the forwards are trying to start the plays right now. That creates a lot of confusion. People are out of position, so when the turnover or the missed shot occurs, there's no one back to defend. And that's why Philadelphia's getting easy baskets.
Well, there's a mismatch. They put Hersey Hawkins and gave Steve Kerr the responsibility of guarding him in the low post. He came off on the curl and was wide open. And he's got 28 points now. Another turnover. Tree Rollins comes on the court for the Cavaliers. And Charles Barkley will get a rest now for Philadelphia as Bob Thornton takes his place. 19-point lead, final 100 seconds of the third period. Anderson.
And that's a heartbreaker. Elo did a great job chasing Anderson back and forth across the court. Anderson finally receives from 20 and buries it.
Mark Price for three. This is the best shooting three-point club in the NBA this year. Jack Madden calling something at the other end. Foul is on Tree Rollins.
So what occurred, and that's what Tree Rollins is discussing with official Jack Madden right now, is that they ran down court. Rick Mahorn and Rollins got their arms tangled. Of course, when the official turned around, he only saw the second action, which was Rollins trying to shed himself of Mahorn and practically threw him down. And that's what he's trying to explain to him right now. He grabbed me first, but the officials usually see the second one. You know, an 18-point deficit for his team, it's still not too late, and it's still a point where you have to learn that you don't want to get caught up in Mahorn's type of game. This is what he wants to occur, and this is the prime time for it to happen.
Gets them both. Yeah, he will play with your mind.
Especially when you're frustrated like the Cavs are.
90-70. Blocked by Mahorn on Rod Williams. Thornton, no basket.
Thornton says, I don't get too many of them, and you just took one away.
Jimmy Lynam, completing his second full year as the head coach of the 76ers, got them in the playoffs last year where they lost to New York in 3 straight. Any of the 3 they could have won. All 3 were close. Johnny Dawkins, acquired in the summer from Mo Cheeks. A very controversial trade and a tough role for Johnny Dawkins when he first got here, Lenny.
Well, Mo Cheeks is extremely popular here, having won championships and been an all-around good citizen. But Johnny Dawkins, it took him a while to adjust, and Philly struggled. But the Sixers came on strong when he finally played himself into being the leader that he is on the floor for them.
92-70. Well, Thornton has a tough double here. He gets a basket taken away at one end and a foul at the other.
And you saw Rick Mahorn come over to give him some mean pointers. First of all, he gets tangled up inside with Tree Rollins. And on the double, kind of manhandle Steve Kerr.
Says, come on, it's game 5 for heaven's sakes.
Looked like he was going for 2 points on the takedown.
That's the 4th foul on Thornton. Final 44.2 seconds. No penalty yet. Johnny Dawkins fouls Tree Rollins.
Well, Jake O'Donnell is trying to keep the game a little bit more under control for them. A couple of the touch fouls can escalate. And right now he's trying to tighten it up just a little bit, sending a message to both teams. Play hard, but will not have any escalation, any punches thrown.
Scott Brooks hurries on for Johnny Dawkins. He goes to the bench with his 4th foul. Tell you what, an amazing year this has been. Johnny Dawkins, who is one of the quietest players in the NBA, got thrown out of Game 4 with a 2nd technical, first 2 he's ever gotten. And remember, earlier this year, Mark Price got a double T.
Well, Mike Jaminski summed it up best about Dawkins' technical and ejection. He said it's like you're on board contesting a referee's line call. You know, the normally stoic Johnny Dawkins finally showed a bit of motion.
Let's check those on the court now. Brooks, Mahorn, Thornton, Anderson, and Hawkins from Philadelphia. Kerr, and a foul away from the ball. This time it's Jake O'Donnell's call. It may be on Elo, or is it Anderson?
Well, he called it on Bob Thornton.
Thornton? Okay.
Thornton put both hands together on the pick up towards his chest and kind of met Elo with it. And that's something that's a no-no when you set picks.
Shot clock at 17, 7-point difference. Elo for 3. '76ers will play for the final shot of quarter number 3. In this, their most impressive performance in the 5 games. Sellout crowd on their feet at the Spectrum. That's the end of the 3rd period with our score, Philadelphia 92-72. We'll return to the Spectrum after this message and a word from your local station.
It's strange. I can't pick up anything.
Still, huh?
Cold filtered, never heat pasteurized, Miller Genuine Draft. For those who've discovered its real draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. I want to get a picture here.
But
what would I talk to her? Yeah, I came out. Oh, that's very nice. I look,
You look sort of catatonic, but that's okay.
Kind of like very nice. Picture of
No,
what?
it's a mood shot. Just
Okay.
a sort of
Moody.
What can I say?
What are you trying to say?
I'm 41. How do you not get heavy when you're 41?
I'm sorry.
I like that picture.
Yeah.
That's a good one. How come my pictures didn't turn out that good?
Levi's 100% cotton Dockers. If they're not Dockers, they're just pants.
This captures a lot of personality. Not yours, but...
Did you guys hear? Okay.
This is CBS.
I want a pickup that's tough. I want those big swing-away mirrors. I want air conditioning, cassette. I want a big engine. I want big savings, and I want it now!
Breakthrough. A loaded Ford F-150 with 7.9 financing or $500 cash back for a total savings of almost $3,000 at your Northland Ford dealer now. Quality people, quality products.
Thank you.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, up at Taco Bell. For Cinco de Mayo, the very best, just 59 cents or less. For Cinco de Mayo, bean burritos, tacos, pintos, and cheese. Soft tacos, tostadas, too. For Cinco de Mayo, baby, you better run for the border.
Celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Tacos, burritos, and more. Just 59 cents or less.
Run for the border.
Newhart, weekends at 10:30 on KX4.
Lenny Wilkins was just a little emotional in the huddle. He said, guys, we have to execute at every position. He said, this is one of those few times in life when it's really true, there's no tomorrow. Vern?
All right, Leslie, not an impossible task, but certainly formidable. They're down by 20 with only 12 minutes remaining in the game and perhaps in the season for this Cleveland Cavalier team. They put together a wonderful run at the end of the year to get into the playoffs, sneaking by first Atlanta and then Indiana. And we've got a bit of a problem at the backboard that's going to necessitate a delay here. Part of the padding on the underside was shaken loose.
It had to be a Sixer who did it. They've been grabbing everything else off the board.
Well, we in our side of the business dream for Game 5s. We've got one for you here. We'll follow this up with a Game 1. The Western Conference semifinals, the San Antonio Spurs and the Portland Trail Blazers coming up next. Rod Strickland, who was acquired, ironically enough, for Mo Cheeks from San Antonio or from New York, and Jerome Hersey, two of the keys in the ball game.
Well, Rod Strickland has added so much to San Antonio's attack. His ability to penetrate and then create in such innovative ways has been something that Larry Brown, in his fondest dreams, couldn't have asked for. On the other side, just Hersey, he's going to be asked to do an awful lot right now. Kevin Duckworth, the big guy in the middle for Portland, maybe missed for the whole playoff, throughout the playoffs, I guess. And Jerome Hersey has taken on a big role as far as the scoring for that team.
Well, that's the game coming up here. Once again, we see the ubiquitous nature of gaffer's tape. Nothing stays together without it, and it works again. And there's an interested Eagle looking on. Keith Byers, number 41 of the Philadelphia Eagles, the outstanding running back. Philadelphia, of course, go back to that point about the sellout here. The Eagles almost always sell out. The Phillies draw $2 million a year. The Flyers in this building sell out. Interesting that the 76ers have such a tough time capturing the affection of these fans, but they are a full house today, and if they get by this game and face Chicago, you know they'll be sold out for their home games in the next best-of-7 round. Mark Price, Craig Elo, Doherty, Williams, Larry Nance on the court for Cleveland, down by 20.
Well, if Cleveland were saving anything, it's for this quarter. You look for them to pull out all the stops.
Nance, nice follow. And the shot won't go. Hersey Hawkins, 3-on-2. Scott Brooks, whoops. You don't think they'll razz him about that shot after the game. Fast break points, 21-2. Doherty with Mahorn muscling him now. Mahorn muscled him too much. And Rick will agree with the call this time.
Yeah, I expect Cleveland to really put their bodies on the line right now. There'll be people flying through the air trying to go for second shot opportunities because they haven't been able to put down an awful lot of them so far.
Away. 76ers.
Falling into the trap of overpassing. Williams had a wide open shot. Instead, he passed it up and threw the ball into a crowd. That's why Sixers are at this point right now with their lead. Cleveland has just been giving them opportunities.
Curl and the dish. And Mahorn misses it. Now Thornton will go to the free throw. No free throws. Foul by Larry Nance. That's 5 on Nance.
Well, Brooks does a nice job starting the offense. Good dish off by Hersey Hawkins, and you can bet it won't be Rick Mahorn who's going to razz Scott Brooks for that shot.
Ron Anderson for 2. And Mahorn's about to get into it with Larry Nance. So
Larry Nance just lost it right there. Mahorn battled him for rebound position, and as he turned his back, Nance gave him a little elbow. Starting to lose the cool, even though there is time. This is a professional basketball game. 24 seconds to shoot. A lot of things can happen. And you'd think the players knew that.
Yeah. Great defense by Hersey Hawkins again. Here's Ron Anderson. Goes by Elo. Now slows it down.
And you can look for the remainder of the quarter. As long as the deficit is this great, the Sixers are going to continue to run the clock down.
And then do things like that.
Things like that, right.
Yep. That game with 2 seconds on the shot clock. And Hersey Hawkins has 30 points. And on the bench, Charles Barkley led the applause. (96-72) timeout.
There's a new line of cars on the block.
Ford Escort.
A revolutionary way of thinking. That world-class standards should begin at home. With cars built to last, engineered to perform, designed to make you take notice. Introducing the next Ford Escort. A new line of thought, a new line of cars.
You've just discovered your car has a clear coat finish, which your ordinary wax just ruined. Simonized non-abrasive wax won't scratch today's clear coat finishes, and that'll save you a lot of grief.
If you care enough about your lawn to get a Craftsman mower, more power to you.
Right now, our most powerful Craftsman self-propelled mower with 5 horsepower and 22-inch cut is just $2.99.
And there's only one place to get it. Sears.
This NBA game summary is sponsored by Sears Craftsman. People who depend on tools depend on Craftsman.
Field goal percentage still not above 50. Philadelphia at 45 and Cleveland 42, but the rebound edge belongs to the 76ers. And the guard points 40-23. Hersey Hawkins with a big game, his second really big game of the playoff series, and it couldn't come at a more opportune time.
Well, you look at the comparisons, the field goal percentages are pretty close, but the rebounding situation, Philadelphia has a huge lead. They've been able to do something with their missed shots and maximize those efforts. And you think about Hersey Hawkins, the improvement he's made from last year's playoffs to this year's playoffs just doesn't have anything to define it. He's done a great job of taking people off the dribble.
What a great example of his patience now when he waited until the shot clock was down to 3 and then put in that running layup for his 30th point of the ball game. Hot Rod Williams has only 20 points in the ball game, 4 in this half. Here's Elo off the pick by Williams. And over Bob Horton for 2.
Craig Elo's been pretty quiet, and we thought that he'd be someone who had to step forward and take his team at least to within shooting distance, but he has been held in check.
Elo with only 8 points. Anderson. Mahorn.
How many shots are you going to give the Sixers before you're believers?
And now a chance to work on the clock some more. Brooks, Thornton, Anderson, and Mahorn join Hersey Hawkins. Elo was fronting Mahorn. And we'll have a shooting opportunity now. Fourth foul on John Williams.
Personal fouls on John Williams, his 4th personal foul, 2 seconds.
Ron Anderson at the line. Philadelphia now 24 of 31 from the free throw line today. And Anderson has been perfect.
You take a look at Ron Anderson in the beginning of this series. He really wasn't hitting the shots that he necessarily had to. Had a tough time, but he weathered the storm, came back out and executed nicely using picks and such, and got his confidence back.
Largest lead of the ball game at 24 points. Elo for 2 more.
Maybe a case of too little, too late. But Craig Elo now has found some keys offensively. See what he can do defensively against the Hersey Hawkins, who's just about riddled Cleveland.
Hawkins runs into Larry Nance, and if that's a foul on Nance, that's it. They called it on Craig. They called it on Craig Elo. The reason I'm laughing is, in the playoffs, it's tough to pick up the 6th foul.
particularly if you're a veteran like Larry Nance.
Yeah. Hawkins.
He may get it this time.
Now what do they do? Oh, look at John Williams hold his hand up. Yep.
And they gave it to him. You want it, you got it.
I've seen guys dodge bullets, but Nance is setting a new standard here. Hersey Hawkins at the line. And 35 points in game 1 here. today.
And we talked about Craig Eglow having to step up to the line for his team. Hersey Hawkins just jumped over the line for the Sixers. He's carried them pretty much in the second half.
Nance. That'll be a foul on Ron Anderson, and Larry Nance will shoot a couple.
Personal foul, Ron Anderson, his third, team second. Larry Nance.
Nance, another of those who missed a number of games at the start of the season. He is with ankle problems. He missed 17 at the start. Doherty, of course, was out the first half of the season.
And Lenny Wilkins said that, you know, his team isn't 100%, but they kept improving as far as the season when they had a great April. But coming into this particular game, you know, you could sense a little bit of concern here because of where they were, because of maybe his team might not be aggressive enough inside, and it's really come to the fore.
Pick and roll, and Charles Barkley is catching some trash now from Rick Mahorn because Williams knocked it back in his face. Here's Barkley. Now, if he scores, he's going to give it right back to Mahorn. Won't get the chance to this time. 7:35 remaining in the ball game. It appears that Philadelphia will face Chicago in the semifinals. Larry Nance with 2 and a chance for a three-point play.
Well, there we look forward to that particular series, Philadelphia and Chicago. Great matchup. Hersey Hawkins has really found his stride offensively. He and Michael Jordan will have to play head-to-head. And you look at Charles Barkley and a guy like Scott Pippen, 2 different styles, one a power player, the other a finesse player. Can be some very interesting ball games there. And I guarantee you both teams will be ready for the physical.
Rick Mahorn is going to get a rest now. Jaminski back on the court for Philadelphia. So we'll check it. It's Dawkins and Hawkins, Jaminski, Charles Barkley, and Ron Anderson. And for Cleveland, Mark Price, Craig Eglow, Nance, Doherty, and Hot Rod Williams. Barkley with another rebound.
Milk the clock a bit. And I tell you, looking forward again, Sixers are going to certainly need Mike Jaminski, and I would believe that this is a good time for them to try to get him started and on track, start running the offense toward him a little bit more.
A heck of an idea. That shot doesn't go, and Nance comes down with it. Barkley, by the way, has 8 offensive rebounds today. There's another turnover. That's 13 for Cleveland. 6 minutes and 49 seconds remaining in Game 5. Philadelphia on top by 20.
I love you, little Jenny.
Len Elmore.
All right, Greg, we'll look ahead. Philadelphia and Chicago, if that's the matchup. Here's the way the setup would go. First 2 games would be at Chicago on Monday and Wednesday. Then the Bulls and 76ers return here to Philadelphia on Friday. Then Game 4 at the Spectrum on Mother's Day. And then Games 5 at Chicago, 6 back in Philadelphia, and Game 7, if necessary, at Chicago.
Quite an obstacle for the Sixers. You know, the Bulls are at home, enjoying home cooking, sleeping in their own beds and relaxing. No rest for the weary. 1-day rest in between for Philadelphia. They got some guys who played a lot of minutes, and Dawkins, Hawkins, and Barkley particularly. They're the core of the offense to see how they react. But first, they got to get this one over with.
Well, they've got 6 minutes and 45 seconds to do it, and they lead by 20. Ron Anderson coming out, looks inside, denied by Larry Nance and taken away. Here's Mark Price. 6.5 to go. 100-80. Price. Mark Price has 19 points now.
He never ceases to amaze how he gets that shot off over much bigger people.
6:10 remaining. Underneath to Hersey Hawkins, and he's fouled by Hot Rod Williams. That's 6 on Williams. So John Williams fouls out with 20 points and 13 rebounds, only 4 points in this half.
And I dare say that the crowd's reaction was an appreciation of his play, recognizing that he did an awful lot to harm the Sixers in games 3 and 4. He's been pretty instrumental in providing most of Cleveland's offense, too, coming off the bench throughout the year. The guy's going to be a great player. And you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers themselves, they have a great future ahead of them.
Hersey Hawkins now 4 of 5 from the free throw line today. And 1 shy of his career high in the playoffs. He now has 34 points. The lead back at 20 with 6 minutes to go. Winston Bennett gets 2.
Winston Bennett.
.102.84. Tried to trap in the switch. That ball touched by Price and over and back. Now they're working on Jaminski. That's for 3. And the shot clock at 3 as well.
And that's about as good a ball movement as I've seen Philadelphia execute in this series.
Basket made, and the foul on Jaminski will give Doherty a chance to counter with a 3-point effort at the other end. But a career playoff high now for Hersey Hawkins of 37 points.
Well, he's been getting his shots where he needed them. But you look at the other end, and we talked about some of the keys at the beginning of the telecast, and one was to keep Brad Doherty from dominating. And while he's doing a decent job of scoring, you have to give Mike Jaminski some credit. His team hasn't had to double down too much against him, and he's done a nice job one-on-one.
Right, Doherty's got 21, which is not that far over his average, and I think Jaminski would be happy if he could keep him to his average in the game, so he's done that. Again, the shot clock all the way down to 5. Nice delay by Ron Anderson, but the shot missed, and here comes Cleveland. Under 5 minutes remaining. Barkley with his 17th rebound. Coming up next, the Western Conference semifinal, Game 1. From Portland, the San Antonio Spurs against the Portland Trail Blazers. Greg Gumbel and Quinn Buckner out there. And then a doubleheader for you tomorrow. We've got 2 Game 5s tomorrow. Boston and New York from Boston. And Phoenix at Utah in the second half of our doubleheader tomorrow. We will be with you until a champion is crowned in 1990 in the NBA. 105-87. Nice pass underneath. Another rebound for Barkley.
Traveling violation on the 76ers.
Well, the Sixers finally get Jaminski involved in the half-court offense a little bit more, and he seems to be having trouble getting his feet set. Not too much time to practice your offensive moves, so Mike is really going to have to get his act together soon.
Well, Doherty over Jaminski misses another. 3:35 to go in the game. Barkley and Dawkins. And Hawkins and Anderson and Jaminski. .3:15 to go. for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who will come to an end, but not a bitter one, I think, given all that they had to overcome. And for Philadelphia, a chance to go on against the Chicago Bulls in the semifinals of the Eastern Conference. Bob Thornton getting ready to come back in. And Hersey Hawkins tries it over the top of his head. Timeout on the court with 2:55 remaining in the ball game. 105-87.
In today's higher revving and hotter running engines, wear is a greater problem than ever before. Oil breakdown can shorten the life of vital engine parts. That's why there's Castrol. Castrol provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol, because driving today can be a grind. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
You don't get to be number one by standing still.
Ford trucks, the best ever ran.
Only Ranger has Ford's exclusive touch drive to let you go in and out of four-wheel drive at the touch of a button. No wonder Ranger is leaving Chevy in the dust.
Ford trucks, the best ever ran.
The best-built, best-selling American trucks are built Ford tough.
No matter how good you feel, you can still benefit from whole grain nutrition. But of these leading cereals, only Wheaties is made with 100% whole grain. So no matter what you're shooting for, better get your whole grain.
I bet eat my Wheaties.
Tonight at 9, some very dangerous people are planning to drop in on your house. The Lost Boys, tonight.
105-87 Philly with 2:55 remaining. Wayne Embry is the general manager of the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's the man responsible for putting together this very fine young Cleveland team. And he's standing by with Leslie Visser. Les?
Thanks, Vern. Wayne, your team is on the verge of possible elimination for the third straight year in the first round. What went wrong today, and how would you be better prepared to go deeper in the playoffs in the future?
We got to do a better job of rebounding, Leslie. We just don't do a good job around the glass, and the Sixers were very aggressive around the glass, so we got to do a better job.
Speaking of the future, what is the status of negotiations with Danny Ferry?
Well, we'll start negotiation as soon as his season's over in Italy. He's in the playoffs, and I guess doing well, so as soon as that's over, we'll start negotiations.
We'll all look forward to it. Thank you very much, Wayne. Vern?
All right, Lenny Wilkins, whose team has been out-rebounded 51-36, just to back up what Wayne Embry said. And Hersey Hawkins at the line. Gets them both, 107-87.
And to kind of further amplify what Wayne was talking about, you know, they do have a great future ahead of them. It's decidedly taken an ACC flavor. They've got the injured Chucky Brown from NC State. They've got Mark Price and Brad Daugherty. Two veterans from Clemson, Tree Rollins and Larry Nance. And, of course, Danny Ferry can be brought into the fold.
I call timeout, Len. With your Maryland background now, here we go with the ACC.
Hey, you know, I just want to talk about the facts, Vern, just the facts.
I understand. 2:20 to go in the ball game. And Derek Chivas back on the court, fouled by Bob Thornton. Today's game was produced by Bobby Stenner and directed by Larry Cavallina. The basketball show produced by Bob Monsbach and directed by Kathy Barretto. The coordinating producer of the NBA on CBS is Michael Burks. Our senior producer, CBS Sports, is David Winter, and the executive producer of CBS Sports, Ted Shaker. So it went 5 for the third year in a row. The Cleveland Cavaliers, who a year ago, you might remember this one on May 7th, were knocked out by Michael Jordan's 17-foot shot at the buzzer, after Craig Elo had made the great play to put Cleveland on top.
I tell you, the heartache after that game, last year's game, had to be greater than this year's game, because they were just thoroughly outplayed from start to finish, and the team knows it. It may be a little easier to swallow, although you know you have things to work on. Last year's was such a heartbreaker and very frustrating that that'll stick with you for a much longer time.
Nice spin move in the middle, but Jaminski or Hawkins will get the foul. Thump and bump on the 76er sideline. It's been a great combination for them. Although interesting, I talked to Charles Barkley a couple of weeks ago here in Philadelphia, and he said, there's Mike Jaminski, 12 points today and a good defensive effort. Barkley said, I promise you, the guy who has made all the difference for us this year is not Rick Mahorn, it's Hersey Hawkins.
And you can see it right now with the offensive lift. Charles would say that he's taken an awful lot of the load off of Charles Barkley, and we're talking about Hersey Hawkins on the offensive end.
Kurt Mimpius, Bob Gordon. Here comes Hersey Hawkins off the court. A career-high 39 points this afternoon. John Morton, the rookie, 1 of 3 on Cleveland's team. There's Leonard Copeland. I'll guarantee you he is not hesitant to put it up. He's a rookie from Georgia State who hasn't played that much this year. At the other end, John Morton puts it up, and here comes Bob Morton.
I haven't seen an anticipation of a dunk like that in Philadelphia since the days of Darryl Dawkins.
Derek Chivas gets 2 for Cleveland. Dawkins, Thornton, Mimpius, Anderson, Leonard Copeland. And we've got 53 seconds to go. Copeland, I told you he's not shy.
We'll be back here at the Spectrum next Friday night and on Sunday.
Ron Anderson will get a rest, and Kenny Payne, the 76ers' #1 draft choice, comes on. Jimmy Lynam, Bob Weinauer on the bench, Freddie Carter, Buzz Brayman, the coaching staff. This has been a well-played Philadelphia game today. At the other end, Cleveland gets 2 more.
Well, this is something that they'd like to carry on, as you see a few imitation thumping bumps going on over there. They'd like to carry this momentum into the Chicago series with their physical play, their aggressiveness in carving out their area, which is that lane. If they can control that, they have a leg up on controlling the game.
Paul Mokeski gets 2 in a rare appearance for the veteran who was with Milwaukee last year. 111-97. The 76ers and the Chicago Bulls in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Copeland.
That's your man.
My guy. Not shy with a shot. Philadelphia wins it 113-97.
At Ford, we've anticipated the needs of a changing world by completely rethinking the way we make small cars, working to reduce our margin of error to 0. And in creating a new process, we created the new Ford Escort, designed and built to rival the best small cars in the world. Introducing the next Ford Escort, a new line of thought, a new line of cars.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
It's strange. I can't pick up anything.
Still, huh?
Cold filtered, never heat pasteurized, Miller Genuine Draft. For those who've discovered its real draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
And so the Philadelphia 76ers advance. They play the Chicago Bulls. That series begins on Monday. A reminder here from our studios in New York City that we have a treat for you coming up in our doubleheader day here. You get a chance to see the Rookie of the Year, David Robinson, against Clyde Drexler and the Portland Trail Blazers. That game is coming up here on CBS. We'll see you throughout the day.
I'm getting rid of an old habit. That's it. No more messing with shampoo and conditioner. I just want to wash my hair and go. So I got Per Plus. It's complete shampoo plus complete conditioner in one bottle. Per Plus leaves my hair clean, conditioned, and looking terrific. Makes you wonder why anyone would bother with shampoo and conditioner. With Per Plus, I just wash and go.
Pert Plus cleans and conditions in just one step.
Every year at deer season, Ed Bigelow comes to town.
Hey, Ed.
To consider buying some new equipment. There's a lot to choose from, and Ed can get up to $350 off.
Looky here.
But each year, Ed says maybe he'll wait till next year. After all, his 23-year-old John Deere mower still works just fine.
Hi, Ed.
Oh, yes, Ed does always get a new hat.
Well, they're working hard in the control room there. We're trying to work hard here. How about the series coming up, Portland-San Antonio, Bill Rafter?
I think Portland's got their problems, you know, with Drexler adjusting maybe to a little more forward in this basketball game than he's played all year long, but it could open up his game. San Antonio extremely tough with David on the inside defensively.
Coming up, Portland and San Antonio. That game, we'll be here at the half. We'll be here all day with scores and highlights of other things going on in the sporting world. Stick around. It's basketball here on CBS. Stay with us.
All right, Pat, our Miller Lite player of the game today, Hersey Hawkins, with 39 points and 4 rebounds. 16 of those points in the first quarter of play. That's a career playoff high for Hawkins. He had 35 in Game 1. On his behalf, Miller Lite will donate $1,000 to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. So for Leslie Visser and Len Elmore, this is Vern Lundquist saying so long from the Spectrum, where our final score was 113-97, Philadelphia. Coming up next on CBS Sports, San Antonio takes on Portland in Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1990 NBA playoffs has been sponsored by Miller Genuine Draft. When things heat up in the NBA, tap into the cold. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?